Last week brought to you by Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Hahn, your college football playoff rooting interest. Let me ask you this, Caleb. If it were to be Gaston Moore, which we've reported, we think it's Nico Iamaleava, and you could take a close loss to Georgia right now, one that's very competitive with a backup quarterback, and one of those a good loss. I hate that term, good loss, but would that be in your best college football playoff rooting interest? I know it's to win in Athens, but where would that rank among the games you're about to give us? If you could guarantee, because Nico's not available, they go Gaston Moore, and it's a 17-16 game, and Tennessee almost pulls it out. Would that be worth rooting for? Do you think Tennessee would make the college football playoff with that on their resume?
Yes, I think they'll still be in the college football playoff race even if they lose. And I'm going to tell you this: guys, we got to stop writing off the possibility that Georgia could still go to the playoff even if they lose. I mean, I don't know if three losses is going to be held against.
I think this is an elimination game.
I'm not so sure, but okay.
Okay, last look brought to you by Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Hahn. Who you need to root for this weekend?
The first step to better vision is to visit ccteyes.com. The information you need is easy to access, and setting an appointment is as simple as clicking the tab. Doctors Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Hahn, and Eye Care Optical at ccteyes.com.
All right, Caleb. So Peyton's going to keep us realistic. If he doesn't think there's any chance that the particular team that we're rooting for will win, he's going to say,
that is total bullshit.
All right. So give us number one. Who's in the rooting interest that Tennessee fans, if they want to make the college football playoff, need to root for or against?
All right. This is tier one, by the way, because, again, we do this in tiers. Tier one is you think you want the game to go this way, but it could potentially work against you, but you're not sure. Okay. So that, or I guess tier five, lower tier. So tier five, that game is Clemson and Pitt. Dave, you want Pitt to beat Clemson because you don't want a situation where Clemson gets to the ACC title game and beats Miami, and then you could foresee two ACC teams going to the college football playoff game. Now, the reason you root for Pitt is I don't think Pitt's capable of winning the ACC title game if they beat Clemson.
I agree. And I believe Clemson and Miami are the only two teams that are benefited by the logo on the side of the helmet. I think out of the ACC, I think they're the only two teams. All right, who's
out of the contenders because Florida State's in there too, but they're not going.
1-9 or 1-8.
Yeah. All right. So now this is about teams you want to avoid seeing in the college football playoff, and I keep going to the group of five route because the group of five teams are the biggest threat for Tennessee in the first round. You want San Jose, you want Boise State to beat San Jose State, and you want Washington State to beat New Mexico because you want at all costs, you don't want Army getting into the college football playoff. You don't want Army getting in at all.
That's hot.
I agree with you too much, Caleb. Give me another one.
All right. So now we go to games that will improve Tennessee's schedule strength, which basically is teams Tennessee has played. You want them to win their games. Not crazy to think about, right?
No.
A lot of them actually don't play this weekend, but let's just throw out the ones that do. And I'll start with the lower ones, the most obvious ones. Unfortunately for Tennessee, Kent State is not going to has already lost because that's all they do is lose. So
that's all they do is lose.
I mean, it's true.
They're awful.
They are so awful. Bad.
I remember talking to my gambling expert, and I was like, how bad are they? And he said, well, they would be underdogs to 23 Division II teams.
I can believe that. I can actually believe that. And so now UTEP doesn't play, funny enough, and NC State doesn't play. So now we just go straight to the SEC teams that will help Tennessee strength the schedule. You want Alabama to beat Mercer. You want Kentucky to beat Murray State. But here's the one you really want to watch. You want Florida to beat LSU. May not happen. Probably won't happen. But if it does, it'd be great for your schedule strength.
I'm not going to say that it may not happen because to me, Florida is the most unpredictable team that's out there.
That's possibly true. You're right.
I mean, remember we had Edgar Thompson on and Florida was like a 7-point favorite at Mississippi State. And he said, or maybe even 11 or more. And he said, I don't know that they can score that many points. I wouldn't gamble.
No, he said he didn't know that he could keep Mississippi State from scoring. I think he thought they could score. I thought he did think they could keep.
No, he didn't think Florida could score that many points.
I know. I think he thought Florida could score. I think he just thought they couldn't stop Mississippi State. Maybe I'm reading it backwards.
Okay, I thought he meant that Florida couldn't score that many points. Since then, Florida's been able to score, and you thought they'd be okay last week. And then because they got the dreaded vote of confidence, and Billy Napier forgot all the details, the detail-oriented Billy Napier, and went out there and just bleep the pooch, if you know what that means. All right, Caleb, who's next?
All right, so now we get to games you want to happen because you want teams in Tennessee's way for the college football playoff to get knocked out. This includes teams ahead of Tennessee and teams behind Tennessee who could sneak their way in if things get went a certain way. So Northwestern Ohio State, you're rooting for Northwestern.
They're like, that is total bullshit.
There's no way the Northwestern are going to beat Ohio State.
No way, but you're rooting for them. Virginia, Notre Dame. You are a hardcore Virginia fan. Virginia did upset Pitt recently, Dave. Don't sleep on that game.
I'm not.
That's hot.
I still think Notre Dame has an upset loss in them, and I'm hoping for it because it'll be chaos because their schedule's terrible, and you would have a 2-loss Notre Dame team that the college football playoff would love to get in. So I'm like you and the Joker. I'm rooting for chaos. So I think they've got an upset loss in them, and I hope it's Virginia this week.
Yeah, and it definitely could be. And by the way, then it's 10-2 Notre Dame, and Texas A&M could win out and go 10-2. Texas A&M has a better resume, but Notre Dame beat Texas A&M at the beginning of the year. That would cause real chaos.
No, as far as a nationwide audience, they'd rather have Notre Dame and those golden domes in there than A&M. That's
exactly. So, all right. So, a couple of teams that are kind of on Tennessee's heels that you just want them out of the way. Boston College and SMU. You want Boston College to beat SMU just to get SMU out of the way. They're pesky right now. They're number 14.
That's hot.
all right.
Wisconsin and Oregon. You're rooting for Wisconsin. Again, not as relevant, but, doesn't hurt to have teams ahead of you lose. So Wisconsin, you're rooting for them, but it's not going to happen.
Okay. I don't think that's going to happen either. All right. Who's next?
Paris or Peyton?
Oh.
That's hot.
There you go.
Oh, you think it will happen? You think it could happen?
No.
They're like, that is total bullshit.
No, I don't think it's going to happen.
All
Sorry.
right. All right, let's keep going. You
What
need
if
Texas
Paris
A&M.
Hilton and Peyton Manning had a baby? What would that look like? All right, go ahead.
All right, so 3 more. You are rooting like heck, to quote Fulmer, for New Mexico State over Texas A&M, but that's not going to happen. You can Peyton me on that.
They're like, that is total bullshit.
All right, who's next?
2 more, then we get to the top tier game. Kansas and BYU. You're rooting like heck for Kansas, and honestly, don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Kansas upsets BYU. By the way,
That's hot.
I can go with that.
And lastly, just to shut Eli Drinkwitz up, you're rooting for South Carolina over Missouri because you don't want another 2-loss SEC team there at the end.
That's very doable. As a matter of fact, of all the ones you picked,
That's hot.
I think that's the most likely to happen.
Well, I
Would you
think that's
agree with
actually. Oh yeah, South Carolina is favored by double digits, but there is one more that tops all of these. Are you ready, Dave? You ready for the tier 1?
that? Is it
to help
Tennessee,
Tennessee
Georgia? Because that should be tier 1.
No, because these are teams you should root for that aren't Tennessee related. Okay. The number 1 game you want to watch that's not Tennessee, Georgia this weekend, and it is crucial, and it could do wonders. Arkansas, Texas. And by the way, that's not a gimme at Arkansas. And
No, it's not.
if Arkansas wins, that helps Tennessee's strength of schedule. And also, that knocks Texas just completely out of the running. Just completely. They're totally done given their strength of schedule.
That's
So
hot.
that is the game you want to root for above all others. If Arkansas beats Texas, Tennessee comes out in very good position whether or not they want to lose this weekend.